Okay, this is Block 6, the Great Depression, Section 4, the 100 Days, the section being the Tennessee Valley Authority, or the TVA. This is Senator George W. Norris. Senator Norris was a senator from the state of Nebraska, and Senator Norris had long championed an idea to provide power for one of America's poorest regions. Appalachia was then, and still is today, the poorest geographical region of the United States. And here is a typical Appalachian dwelling from the 1930s. You literally could have lifted this out of the same region in the 1830s or even the 1730s. That most of the areas in Appalachia had no power, had no running water, that the modern world had kind of left it behind. And we can see on a map, I'll go back to another one, Appalachia is kind of that area along in the western parts of Virginia, western North Carolina, East Tennessee, northern Georgia, areas of the former Confederacy, very poor soil for farming, that the people who live there kind of scratch out a living on the soil. And it's a very, very poor area of the United States. There was child malnutrition in the 1930s in Appalachia. Disease that had kind of been wiped out of other parts of the United States by the 1930s was still prevalent in Appalachia. And even to this day, that these are some pretty poor counties and areas of the United States. What the Tennessee Valley Authority promised to do was to electrify this region, was to take the area of known as to take the river systems of East Tennessee and dam them up in the Tennessee Valley. Take Tennessee Valley, the Tennessee Valley, put dams along all the rivers, and use hydroelectric power to run wires to all of the communities throughout Appalachia. It was opposed by states' rights people. It was opposed by the power companies in the area who said, you know, the area is too poor to support electricity. But Roosevelt and, like I said, Senator Norris, you know, overcame that opposition.
Mr. Bush, please call me now, please, Mr. Bush.
And the TVA became reality. And a series of hundreds of dams, some large, some small, covered East Tennessee and the Tennessee Valley. And by 1940, 90% of this region was now, for the first time, powered by electricity. And it brought the economy of this part of the country into the modern world, where it had not been. That living in this part of the country in 1930, like I said, was very similar to living in that part of the country 100 years earlier. And the TVA, to a degree, changed. It didn't change the culture, but it did change the infrastructure, and it did bring electricity to a very large portion of the United States. To this day, that much of Tennessee and Mississippi and North Alabama get their power from TVA, Tennessee Valley Authority, dams and power plants and transmission lines, etc., etc.